Ingaso. Buenos noches. Good evening. Aho matakioesen. Jai Bhagwan. Namaste. Haush haush. Whoosh. Whoosh. Sana, sana, sana. Sana, 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 sana. Sana, mi familia. Oh. Welcome home, my family, my brothers, my sisters. Let us gather, hold hands if you choose with one another, or let us just be shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart, whichever way you feel comfortable and safe. I have a prayer song that has expressed itself through me today, and I'm going to attempt to share what has been pressing and flowing from my lips uncontrollably. Before going there, I like to do a small prayer circle here in this other way. And the first thing I like to say is Happy Sabbath Saturday. And now I shall pray. Thank you so much, Lord, for our moments of rest, for all of our peacefulness, for all of our freedom and ability to do the work we are called to do, the blessing it is to be of service and to give our lives as offerings, having the free will to choose love and what we love to do and where we love to be in peace and where we're at rest, and not being compelled by other forces of nature that might manipulate us and confuse us or trick us or put us into a position where we are doing something we don't want to do in exchange for the other thing which we say is worth the price that we pay. Thank you for correcting me every time I've made that mistake and that it's been made clear to me so that I can at least choose and be aware of what I'm doing and what the cost of the price I am paying in exchange. Whether it's not being true to myself or not honoring my fellow brethren by not being my authentic person. Thank you. Thank you for all the love. And so now I will play with my prayer of peace. And it goes, Sana mi familia, 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 sana been playing with another level since I've found this tone and this harmony that was just like expressing through me. And then I wanted to change it or like add something to it, and making it more personal instead about the whole world as my family and me being the member of the family too, and more so being with Sanami Alma, Sanami Alma, Sanami Alma, Sanami Alma. Heal my soul, heal my soul, heal my soul, heal my soul. Sanami Alma, Sanami Alma, Sanami Alma, Sanami Alma. Which invites more play, which can be Sanami corazón, Sanami corazón, sana mi corazón, sana mi corazón. Heal my heart, heal my heart, heal my heart, heal my heart. Sana mi familia, 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 sana mi familia. Heal my family, heal my family, heal my family, heal my family. Sana mi familia, 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 sana mi familia. Heal my family, heal my family, heal my family, heal my family. Sana mi alma, 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 sana mi alma. Sana mi familia, sana mi familia, sana mi familia, sana mi familia, sana mi corazón, sana mi corazón, sana mi corazón, sana mi corazón. Hello, Tim. Welcome to the circle. Blessings and peace be upon you. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Sana mi alma, sana mi alma, sana mi familia, sana mi familia, sana mi familia, sana mi familia, sana mi alma, sana mi family, heal my family. Sana mi familia, sana mi familia. Heal my family, heal my family. Sana mi oma, sana mi oma. Heal my soul, heal my soul. It's very fun and interesting because as I'm switching between the two languages, like there's different what are those syllables? It's like different syllables. Heal my family, sana mi familia, sana mi familia. It's very different. So trying to switch the language and still have the tone. Oh, it's such a challenge, and I kind of find a little bit of love and fascination with it. And it all started for me with a song that just means so much to me when I'm hearing it in Spanish and I didn't really understand or know the words in English, and it just still was meaningful to me. And so I automatically, almost subconsciously, learned the song, and I've sang it here so many times. And I'll see if I can go into it. It goes, en tus ojos de agua infinita se bañan las estrellitas, mamá. En tus ojos de agua infinita se bañan las estrellitas, mamá. Agua de luz, agua de estrellas, Pachamama, vienes del cielo. It's also challenging to like keep the tone of the song when you don't have the music playing and you're trying to like get this harmony and get the song to like come out the right way without having to listen and play the song out loud to also get the same flow or like the same tone or same feel, you know, like you're trying to transfer this memory or this particular song in place of the heart that gets shared through the song. So I was trying to like translate that into the same tone into English. And like I have to meet more bilingual friends so that way they can like help me make sure that I'm translating this the right way, because I'm kind of like using a program to kind of like translate the language. So I'm not fully confident and certain that this translation is like the best way to sing this song in the English version to also like get it into that way. And like I'll attempt to surrender and play with the English version, or at least my level of interpretation of it so far. Into your eyes the infinite waters, the stars are bathing, mother. And then it goes again. Into your eyes the infinite waters, the stars are bathing, mother. Water of light, water of stars, Mother Earth comes from heaven. And again, like the transference of like trying, how can I sing in the same tones with different syllables in English and try to get the song to still sound as smooth as it does. So that's been kind of a fun level of play. So I'd almost say that one of my prayers is that I can learn how to like transfer between these languages and kind of share the same like heart space and the same information. And basically, as I freely received this song and like what it means and what it means to me, etc., and like being able to share that with someone else who's never like been activated in that way and they've never heard it, and so they don't know that they might feel that way if they listen to this old I would almost tease like a campfire song, like something that everyone sings together, we're all singing together. And I've had imaginations of that we're all singing together. Imagine that everyone is adding their particular tone of voice to the space. So like if we're singing Sana mi alma, sana mi familia, or any of those tones, that's a man's like Sana mi familia, sana mi familia, and like the different tones, and then how it sounds so much more like beautiful and different because you have like 6 different voices harmonizing and saying this different thing. And it doesn't matter if they're saying the words at exactly the same time, because in fact when there's like a little bit of offbeat, it creates like a whole nother sound, like those like undertones and things like that. Like imagine, let's say one person singing Sana mi familia, and then like maybe the masculines or like another level of tone of voice or something like that, like the lower pitch or something like that, that is like Sana mi alma, and like they're singing almost like a call and response, and but there's like no pause. It's hard to explain without having like other people to play with their voice, and I would love to get people here and like be not shy to come on camera and like sing and like create what I'm trying to like express, which I'm sure you've experienced. If you have sang with other people, like you'll notice like how each person adds their flavor, you could say, like right, their tone of their voice is their flavor, like their signature mark is their sound and their tone. And the difference too sometimes, like let's say someone's singing a sad song, and let's say because they're feeling so sad that they are able to share this particular heart position, whereas someone who's never been in that position cannot sing with those kinds of like frequencies, you could say, or those vibrations that release from their vocal cords that penetrate. And like the other people who have been there or that like reach those tones or those levels of the emotion, like they also come into transference, or almost like Shaktipat or something like that, like where there's an inheritance of like, oh my god, I really feel where they're coming from, and this is explaining how I feel. And so sometimes we'll play that same song over and over again to kind of sometimes get it out, right? Like sometimes we use the song to activate the ability to release and tune into the emotion that the song brings up. And sometimes this can be used in other ways where we're using positive uplifting music to kind of get us into a better moment of enjoyment. Super valuing my precious little kitty here. Definitely very grateful to have crossed paths with this loving, sweet little animal who I have a very blessed, like, it's almost like a friendship with an animal. But it's just like there's an understanding without words that's like, oh, okay, I'll take care of you, and these are all the requirements that he needs to be taken care of in his own way. And just the joy and the blessing that this individual adds to my personal experience. And I'm sure that there's many of you here who can also say many thanks for your critters or animals, and sometimes maybe you're thinking your animals that you get to eat. So listen to your intuition. Always, 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 always. Trust yourself. There's also one of my favorite prayers to add to the space is please forgive me. And the flip side of that is so good too, of saying like, I forgive you. I forgive every one of you. And whoever that is, and just really meaning it. That is also a prayer and like an intention or a something to bring to the space. And sometimes we're just not there yet. We're really not ready to forgive or have compassion and let children be children in the family here. And sometimes we have to honor our need for no compassion for why we were so, you could say, fussy baby or angry or sad or scared. And just honoring that where we're at in that moment instead of resistance and acting like that part of us is not there. Ahom Ataki Oisen. Shanti, 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 Shanti. Peace, 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 peace. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Another idea of adding to the prayer circle today is this aspect of um, instead of like doing the call and response of a please and thank you. However, if you need to hear something, and you want some advice, obviously you can ask, and that's a good time for that. But there's another level too of just like, let's say like there's something that God knows and you know that you need, kind of thing. So for example, let's say like you're anxious or you're unhappy or something's like not feeling right and I have an upset stomach or something like this, right? So like a prayer or an idea that comes to mind is, what if instead of me focusing on how much this hurts and this stinks and stuff like that, that I just go peace, 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 peace. Like not letting the cycle of the negative thoughts building, and instead speaking over myself in the moment, what I choose to see out of this. And sometimes like it's so messy, you could say, or like negative, or it's right, it's a bad moment that I can't even think or sit and think about this because it's just like I'm not seeing it in front of me, and I'm struggling to have faith and believe that that it's ever going there. And sometimes there's like other expressions where like the peace and the joy is like the thing I'm afraid of the most. Like, right, people, they say like people being afraid of success. So simply like noticing if you have that kind of relationship with those things as well. And it feels like that prayer of peace can still be applied over even having those moments of like, oh my God, I would like to be at peace with peace. And of course, there's also great joy and strength and wisdom and things that come from the blessings of suffering or learning things the hard way and becoming almost pruned or edified and cleansed and just made a new person, if you will. And it took us playing with that thing enough to realize, hey, actually every time I play with this I get burned or I get hurt, or it's not worth it. Like, and sometimes mm, it can be hard. It can be hard to say. Let's just say, I'm trying to find like a nice way to say the thing. And it's almost like something that I would like to almost like ignore and sweep under the rug and act like that's not there. However, but that's not reality, right? Like sometimes people learn the hard ways, like in the worst of ways. Like they played with a thing that everyone warned them, hey, don't do this because this leads to this, and then it led to that which everyone warned the thing, and uh, and then maybe many of us are sad because we've lost this person because they kept doing the thing. And it could be the thing of reckless driving. It could be so many different things, and maybe me as a person, I know that I need to change this about me. Everybody keeps telling me this, blah, 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 and I'm given options and choices all the time to listen to the prayers that people are speaking over me and encouraging me to learn and be a better, different person. However, sometimes the price I pay of not listening is a almost like bigger reward, because I learn intimately in another way. And sometimes there's other exchanges that happen that can make those experiences more intense lessons to learn because of coming into such contact and close proximity of all the things. And sometimes there's also the additive part where I am a participant, that like I already knew that I'm not supposed to do the thing, and then I did the thing knowing like what would happen, and I still did it, and then I'm like mad at me and not forgiving me because I'm not learning the thing, which leads to like more cycling of like doing the other things that I say that I choose not to do. And sometimes I've learned to ask for help, just ask for help, saying, listen, I'm having a really hard time releasing my attachment to this thing, which I know is this, and just for some reason I just love rolling in the mud over there and just like this, and this is what I'm doing. and then just leaving wiggle room, because something that was spoken to me by my friend, which I love to name him as Mr. E, which is cute and funny to me because it's like mystery. And he prophesized how like the feedback, how like the problem is a solution within itself. So let's say like someone, and he didn't give these examples, so I'm trying to like make this up on the spot, okay? So like let's say you have this person and they have like this addiction to this thing, and because of their contract or their agreement with this addiction to this thing, it comes with all these other consequences, right? So it could be like sugar and diabetes, or alcoholism and jargus? I can't remember. Jaundice. Maybe it's jaundice. I have a lot to learn still, and what I'm saying is like sometimes we're put in these like hard places or these under these great pressures, and through that great pressure of thinking we're about to go home or something like this, that we suddenly like, oh, I really want to live, so I'm willing to pay the price of not indulging in the sugar, which is leading to me feeling numb in my hands and my feet or whatever. So then I choose to like end that agreement and to like heal and repair and have cellular regeneration in my body by going through this process of cleansing my nervous system and re-putting in different opposite minerals, right? Which could be like I would almost make jokes about like collard greens, or like I don't know. I don't really like, I'm not a nutritionist, you know, so I don't really know all the exact specifics of opposite minerals and where to get everything from or whatever. However, I do have a sincere belief that you will know, like you'll be led. You'll be like, oh, for some reason I keep picking this radishes. I've never had a radish before, but for some reason I always want to buy them and figure out how to eat them. Things like that, and just following those hunches and playing, right? You can only experiment, and you might learn about yourself that like, oh, I don't really like to eat this in raw form. However, I enjoy to do this to it, or I was guided to chop it up in this way and put it in this way, and sometimes it's also like a training thing, right? Like I'm getting myself used to eating raw vegetables in this way instead of this way. And each person's process will be different, of course, because different people will have a different, you could say, attachment to a different thing. Like maybe their thing isn't the sugar. Maybe they're constantly on the telephone or constantly on the screen or computer or video game, or constantly plugged into external stimulus. And sometimes we have to choose to fast or break away from those things, especially things that like really are having a lot of power over us, and we're like, oh, I can't stop eating potato chips, or I can't stop eating this, and noticing like and being honest with yourself, like, oh, I notice when I eat these things, like, oh, my heart hurts, and I'm still keep doing this, and it really has this power over me. And then sometimes we're in a position where it's just like, man, I really have to make this commitment to this like higher life form of like living a better, longer life, and being better to my body and loving myself with these actions that show that I'm willing to make sacrifices or compromises with my cells until I can get to a place of this. And sometimes it's not, the diet isn't always strictly food intake, as mentioned before, like with the screens, and sometimes some of the other dieting, like let's say you are having someone speak negativity over you as your boss, or whoever position that puts them in a place of authority in the universe, could be mom, who knows, but let's say that there's just this person, and that's your diet. You're hearing this like this, and it could even be someone else's thoughts about themselves, like that they think that they're no good, so you're always hearing that. And then what we can't help but do subconsciously is like we imagine them as ourselves, and then we take in their personal self-talk to ourselves too. And some people, you could say they have like really, really good self-esteem, so that doesn't always happen, and that's a bad joke. It seems like that everyone might be susceptible to not being able to handle constantly being spoken over in negative tones, or being told that you're wrong, or you're not good, or those I would almost joke again, make-believe aspects, because you can have both, right? Like you could be like, I'm bad for eating all of this sugar, and I'm holding myself accountable because of this, and this, versus like the other part that's like, hey, you had a very, very extremely rough time. You had a very rough time, and having a piece of cake on your birthday, like once a year, is not bad. Or I'm just creating like playful, imaginative aspects. Maybe you can like stretch and expand to where there might be weak places in your own foundations, and where you choose to map yourself to be going, and it's better to not dissociate from what's the problem or the thing that just keeps coming up, that I keep running into, this thing that's making me sick. I feel not at ease and I can't rest because of this and this. And sometimes it's important to just really process this. Like if there's something that is causing constant grief, sometimes it can be relieving to redirect our attention. If we could redirect our attention to the gratitude, we might be able to have more energy, you can say, to apply ourselves towards the solution of the thing that is causing such interference with our personal happiness and our upliftment of our personal spirit. And sometimes we can almost say that there's like a spirit that comes with being indulgent in those things. Try to think of something. For example, one thing that comes to mind is like some people are always focused on death, and they have this insane fear of death. And then you have the contrast people, like people who are like, I can't wait to go home, and oh, I've been waiting a long time. And there's different aspects of that. And for some people, it becomes a haunting thing. Like we're constantly thinking about this thing that is terrifying me, when one could simply redirect the attention to something that brings life. It's like, oh my God, this is what I want to live for. This is what I want to do. And then letting the self be in that place, in the mind, in the body, in the spirit, like all the ways, mentally, emotionally, physically, just expressing that truth without words. And sometimes there's traumas or injuries that happen in those particular places, so we shut down and we don't allow ourselves to express and to be in joy in those places. When it's challenging because each individual case will be different, so I can never tell anyone what to do. Simply noticing and attempting to be in the witness state and working from there, and then kind of assessing, and perhaps also challenging the self to see if you can look at things a little bit differently. Let's say we are painting a picture and saying, hey, this isn't looking good over there, I don't like what this person's doing with their life, or like something like that. Maybe we could look at it differently and be like, hey, where could I possibly be wrong? Where am I being judgmental, and then it's not my place, and it's taking all my energy to focus on this when I can use my focus and learn piano or learn this thing I said I always wanted to do. And really immersing with the what would you call it? It's almost like uncomfortable, right? We're uncomfortable because we're in this new position. I've never been here before. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning the hard way. I'm learning how to move my hands, or how to do things in this way, and learn how to feel comfortable and feel good doing these things and feeling safe. So it's just a matter of process. I'm also guided to speak about you remembering how many amazing people you have around you, and that sometimes you just have to ask for help. You will be blessed, and you will see people who are doing things exactly how you wish, or something you admire, and instead of coveting and hiding your love for what they're doing and what's going on, you can ask questions. And many times people will be your friends, and they'll be like, wow, I can't believe you saw this in me. I actually did this for 30 years. I worked so hard to do this. I learned all this the hard way, and I'd love to share with you all the things I learned the hard way, and to tell you all my stories and my testimony of what happened to me and how I fell on my face, and then I picked myself back up again, and then this and this and this. And if you weren't humble or vulnerable or feeling safe to express these things and tell this person, hey, oh my God, I want this, and how did you get here, and what about this, and what about this, and oh, I was afraid of this, how did you get over this? And you can just ask all the different questions. And you have a lot of options. And I'd almost say that attempt to listen to what you love, because sometimes you won't be able to help it. You'll just be unable to be silent. You'd be like, oh my God, husband and wife, how did you meet? What is this? This looks really cool. What are you doing? Or maybe there's something that you have that someone else might be looking at you in that way, and you can say, hey, I can see that you're interested in this. Let me teach you how to use this particular tool that I learned to use. I love this tool. I like that you like this tool. You remind me of a young version of myself. Let me pass this torch on to you. Let me teach you. I'm compelled by love. And I'm not saying to force people to love everything that you love. That's not your job. All you can do is just do what you love and express fully, and then other people can see that and be like, wow, that's an option. That's an option. And then there's a lot of play energy there, because then you can either invite them to learn and to know about something that you love and adore and that you can't help but share and do all the time. And sometimes it could be, the other way, that they have something to teach you too. And unless we are willing to be childlike, it can be challenging. So maybe that's a prayer that you need to make. Please help me be more like a kid. Help me stop thinking that I know it all and I know the ending and just telling you what to do. Help me to be softer, kinder, nicer, or whichever medicine of the heart that you think that you need. To kind of like be honest and honor where you're at. And it can go a couple different ways. We can make a prayer for, please help me to make my voice more loud and clear, or please help me to silence my speaking device and help me learn to sit in silence and really be a witness. And the judgment energy, it can be challenging because we all take everything so personal. Like, it's so frustrating. I can't get what I want when I want it, right? So the little kid or monkey mind. And but also on the flip side of that is also the belief and the trust and the hope and the faith, and knowing that like every little kid little wish will occur in the right manner for all involved, kind of thing, that we all can get a piece of whichever we choose. And sometimes it's double-sided, we could say. Like, let's say we are saying, I would love to have a family, I want a family so badly. And the flip side of having the family is like, oh, I got to clean diapers and I have to feed mouse, and then the feeding of mouse is like this and the birthing process is like this, so it costs all these other things. And I feel especially compelled to speak of like the woman part, right? Of like the pushing through the womb thing. Oh my god, the cost of that. Wow. I can only imagine. I've met so many different mothers of what that painful experience of human life is. And also the other things, the cost of that. And sometimes we can't see that. And sometimes we're so compelled by love that those things don't matter. It's not unclean to change a diaper. It's not a draining of resources to feed a baby's mouth. It's not seen that way. It's like, yes, I'm so happy I have this to give you, yes. And sometimes there are people who, I'll try to paint the picture. So like, let's say there's us or you who wants and wants and wants and wants and wants and wants, and just secretly wants, right? Maybe never tells anyone. Maybe there's only one who knows what we want. And then let's say on the other end of that there's someone who equally wants like the opposite of what you're asking for. Like, let's play and create another imagination. Let's say you have a business and you have this amazing offering. Let's say you have this amazing thing to offer, and let's say you're really smart, or you have this gift or this talent, or you have this. And let's say all you want to do is just give the gift away. You're like, oh my god, I want to share this. And then so someone on the other end is so hungry and they want the thing. They're like, oh my god, please take my money, anything, please, this is all I want too. Oh my god, I just want to have this service done to me. I would just and we can play with that, right? Like, let's say someone's like, oh, I really want someone to sing to me, and let's say you can sing, and all you want to do is sing, and you want to be paid to sing. Well, there's someone out there who absolutely is just dying, like, oh, I wish someone would sing to me, I'd pay. There's not like that. And so when you find yourself loving, just know that there's like that reciprocity. And the way this was taught to me recently was saying, like, let's say you're looking at a plant in the store and you're like, oh my god, I love this plant and I love this so much. And my friend was pointing out how, well, what if the plant loves you, loving it just as much as you love it? So that way you totally do deserve, and it's totally worth it to you and worth it to the plant for you to be taking care of this like real life thing that is going to keep living because you're taking care of it. And there's like this symbiotic relationship of a sort that's a transfer. It's like the plant is providing oxygen in the atmosphere and is providing this, and meanwhile you're providing life and nutrients and water and like the attentive care to the I almost want to say procreation, but maybe procreation is the right word. Although plants are constantly putting off shoots and like new saplings, but almost like keeping it alive and helping it thrive. And so try to see your brothers and sisters as the same exact way, that like what you have to offer, or what your friends have to offer, your family has to offer, uh, like it goes both ways. So do not lose hope or faith, and just have a belief and a deep knowing that like for what we are called to provide, there is a call to receive. And whether this is like let's say you're a collector and you travel all around the world and you get all these things. Well, there's someone out there who's like, oh my God, I wish I could travel, but I can't. But these people, they've gotten to experience these things, and I came in contact with this thing that really uplifts my spirit every time I see this art made by this particular people, and I really want to have this. And there's it's almost like no price tag. It's priceless, and that things like seem to work it out. And let's say it's so priceless that it was given to you as a gift, and you've been blessed with this, and no amount of money can buy you another one or anything like that, and that you've been blessed with this. And perhaps the going home process comes up, and then along you become called and say, hey, I'm going to share this. This means so much to me. It is literally priceless. I'm going to give it to you as it was given to me. And therefore, you know, it can't be bought, kind of like our happiness or our moments and time and the strengths of our relationships. They all have like such strong detrimental value. And we have like free will. We can either look at it from the way of like, I'm not getting what I want and things aren't going blah, 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 blah. Like the story of make-believe, of saying that things are bad and looking for all the things that are bad are not going how we want them to, or if we were God or whatever, controlling the things, and instead kind of stepping to a place of like, wow, I really like how this person is evolving over here. I really, really like what this family is doing with this business, or I really like, you know, this skill or this craft that these people have perfected. They've spent so many hours investing and getting good at this, and I just feel like there's like so many things that you can't see and that you can't appreciate, and maybe you could just ask to be shown these things. And as they say, ask, knock, and you shall receive. It's like instantly, just instantly. And I feel called to share the importance of that, about your ability to really, really step into this, and that it's not just like some make-believe thing. You know, it's almost like the Maya is putting everyone in a mass hypnosis into believing fear and lies and secrets and pretending, instead of allowing the self to like be authentic and to be in the place of almost like peacefulness, right? Like a lot of people are like, sometimes they're in a space of like, I'm trying not to make a joke. Let me try to find like a more sophisticated way of saying. My favorite way to say it is they're focused on external things, and we can make specific things, and very common specific things, and that can be a life mate or monetary gain or stability. And then there's like these mayas, these illusions, right? Like the illusion that stability is X, Y, or Z. And people think that like in order to be successful, I have to have this box checked, and this, and this. And a lot of times those are like culture. It's like a cult, or like a society embedded, unspoken regimen. And it's not I would almost tease, it's not right. Like it's not the truth. You know, success to you might mean like I'm able to take a full breath and I can breathe so easily. Like let's say that's successful life for you, is that you live healthy and you live long and you have great oxygen, and that's your success. And maybe to some another woman is like, I will be successful will mean that I have a husband and a family, and that I fulfill the role of being this, like all my sisters and ancestors before have all been wonderful, wonderful mothers, and so I'm called to do this, so my heart is aching because this is what I want to do. This is what will be a successful life for me. And then you have of course the other paradigms of like the social conditioning of saying like, oh, in order to be successful you have to have a degree or money, you have to have this, you have to have that, and then this says that you're valuable, and means that you're worth something, when that's absolutely not true. that you're actually like worth more than all of this. And when we are hypnotized or under the impression of like these lies or these I want to almost like keep making jokes, okay? But I'm not trying to like make a joke, but it's also like I see the sense of humor in it. The word was false witness. Like we are falsely witnessing. We're saying that we see things that are all bad, or like, right? It's like a limited view of things, when really like that's false witnessing, because it is great and wonderful and surprising, and it's not just limited to being so-called bad and only suffering or that way. However, at the same time, if I believe that it's all bad and it's all suffering, my brain, my whole body, all of me is going to be looking. See, it's bad because I'm looking, I see this and I see this and I see this and I see this. And it's like the same way if you go the other way and say, I'm looking, or I am able to see that the world is good, and oh my god, I see the world's good in there, and then I see this woman doing this and that man's doing that, and so we start to see like what we're looking for. And when we've been through these habitual conditionings, meaning like we're always in those same situations, or always surrounded like those same people who are controlling or telling us what to do, or misjudging us and misrepresenting us, etc. So we come to start to expect those things. And when we come to expect that there's going to be misunderstanding, we kind of bring misunderstanding to the space. So I'm expecting you to misunderstand me, so therefore I'm being very mean and callous or hard-hearted because I'm expecting this. And because I'm expecting this, you're become hard-hearted and you are misunderstanding me because I'm assuming I'm misunderstood, so therefore I'm treating you like I'm misunderstood, therefore it leads to a misunderstanding, which we both simultaneously co-created and recreated that past trauma into the reality, into this moment, in this exact now, when really we have free will to allow ourselves to slip into a more peaceful place of rest. And the word that comes to mind is santosha. Santosha Saturday. Santosha is contentment. Like actually being content instead of constantly seeking another gain, another this in order to feel this way. And one of my favorite ways of that teaching is like seeking to get fruit from our labor. And I'm seeking to do this work. I'm seeking to do this job because I want this outcome. This shows up in relationships all the time, right? Like people are being super affectionate, super lovey-dovey, or they're doing this, but they're doing it because they want what they're giving, and they have an expectation to receive a particular flavor or thing. So they think, oh, if I just do this. And then you have a flip side of our hearts where sometimes we'll do the thing because, oh my god, I can't help but touch you and kiss you because I just feel this way. And of course, we're in like this new age, you could say, of where force and consent are like very huge topics that are like very in the open spoken. And we can see the epigenetics, or like the ancestral expression of humanity, of like, why is this suddenly like a big talk in the room of saying consent, and not like using any forces of manipulation of the will to get what we want, whether that's using money to get a person to change how they feel, or a behavior. Like, right, we put in a cost, we put in an effort, and then we expect to get something back, but we're putting it in just to get the so-called fruit. And that kind of ruins and sours the fruit, if you will, because it's like, oh my god, I basically tricked this person to get this. And sometimes when we're in those modes of operation, we don't recognize like that's what we're doing. But like maybe deep down we do know, and just sometimes we choose to like compartmentalize and not really associate with the self in that way. However, if we can have compassion and forgiveness and see like, oh wow, we're really wounded in this one place. We really are always looking for pleasure. We're always looking for identity, or always looking for meaning, or always looking to be the judge or the storyteller, and just noticing, and then having the compassion and the forgiveness, and attempting to see everyone as the brother and the sister or the other self. If you could see them as yourself, imagine that you are them and you are doing all the things that they are doing. And even though you might be like scoffing, like, I would never, da 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 da, right? Instead, try to just be loving. And sometimes you're correcting, like you correcting the person, for you it feels like you're loving them, because you're like, I love you so much, I'm taking the time to tell you why you should not be doing this. Like, I don't want you to die, so I'm telling you this, this, and this. And however, at the same time, we can only do our part, we can only play our role, we can like warn or teach and say this, and then if the person chooses to stray and go aside and do another works or another way, our best duty we can do is still to love, to still love, unconditionally love. I love you whether you do this thing or you don't, and I will keep loving you, and I'll love you in this way, and it's never going away, and there's nothing you can do to make this go away. And kind of having that kind of commitment. And the first person you can have that commitment to is, of course, yourself. Forgive yourself every single time you make a mistake. And just how much more does that strengthen your love when you feel and know how much you've been forgiven, and just how much edification and purification and just the quality of your personality that has evolved and shifted over time. And perhaps you're in a weak place right now where you're like, man, I wish I was different, but like maybe in like a genuine way, not like a way that like you feel like I'm an unusual artist or something, but maybe like there's something that you're doing that like actually is hurting you, and you're doing it, and you're just like, oh my god, I wish I was a different way. It's like I would almost say it's like a beautification process. Like, it takes time, and like you're guaranteed to get there because you're holding this high standard for yourself that you choose to evolve and become this different kind of person, and only you are like loving yourself and holding this bar for you. And sometimes there is this imaginary bar, this bar or box of perfection, and we think that somebody out there is like that. And to some extent there are people who are like that out there, and it is possible within our reach, and seeing other people who are living it out and really being meaningful in that way creates a space and an opportunity, a role model, if you will, of like, wow, I choose to emulate these characteristics. I absolutely love being honest, or I love being impulsive. And maybe it's not always like the best thing to love impulsive or spontaneous things. However, there are multitudes of ways that this expresses in our life, and sometimes we can say, I don't really love adventure or going places, but meanwhile here we are always on an adventure and going places, and deep down we actually really love it, which is why we're continuing to involve with it. And sometimes our love can be a passion, like let's say on one side someone really doesn't like this one thing. I always like to do like almost like really inappropriate levels of like teaching this, so I'm kind of tempted to just still go there anyway. So like, let's say somebody really hates people who hurt children or animals. Okay, like that. Okay. Underneath that hatred is really a love for children. Like deep down. So we can hate the hater or whatever, but secretly underneath the hate, like let's say people hate being ignored, okay, but deep down they love to be seen, they love to be heard, they love to be felt, they love community. So underneath that anger and that sadness and all of that, the hate is really this deep love that sometimes has no way of expressing, and the child, the human, the adult, has not yet learned the protocols of handling this intensity of things, which leads other people to acting out in other ways that may not always be beneficial to themselves or the collective whole. And many times we witness people doing these things, and honestly, I've seen people look the other way. You look the other way, you don't say anything, you say it to a friend, say it behind their back, instead of approaching and saying, hey, can we talk about this? I'm like, I'm really shook up about how you just threw your cigarette butt on the ground there, man. I'm just like, I'm trying to make something of it, but it's like that. And you're just trying to share the heart of your personal heart and be like, man, I saw you do this. It really made me feel like bad, and I wondered, how bad do you feel that you did that? Or like, I took it really personal that you were so mad. Can you tell me what you're really mad about, so I feel like it's not just me? Are you open to that? And sometimes like we're not really taught how to have those conversations, like especially how do we just bring it up, how do you just randomly bring it up into the room. But at the same time, you'll be compelled by love, your passion, your love for the thing that maybe the person hates will help emphasize of like, wow, I need to be this loving presence and to teach this in this new way. However, again, each person has free will. It's not our place to encourage everyone to love animals, and that's the moral code for every single person. And there's obviously benefits to multitudes of spectrums, right? Like, for example, someone who lives in the cold, let's say someone really, really loves animals, but they really, really need this hide, this animal skin or whatever, to feel warm and to survive in these conditions. And therefore, the trade is almost necessary. And so maybe we're saying, I'm sorry that I'm killing this thing, but I really need this thing, and I'm thankful that you gave me this thing, that I can do this thing, but there's like other costs involved, right, of turning that thing into the warmness or the actual usable blanket that's not all the other things. So these are just some things that are pressing. I do hope to keep receiving that Mi Familia song that's come to me, and if it comes to me to sing again, I absolutely will. I certainly entered a different tone and space before I pushed for the courage to be able to speak it and share it in a public space. Like, it was almost like a different song, but similar. Like, it was almost like more softer tone or more like loving feelings. However, like sometimes there's like embarrassment or difficulty being seen in that particular place of, maybe you could call it worship, and being admiration and asking for please, or being in that desperate place, and really singing and speaking that over all beings. And it feels like each time I play with the song and the mantra that I'm accessing like a different aspect. So thank you so much for allowing me to share with you what I've received. I'm going to encourage you again, as I do in every circle, for you to have your private prayers. And if no one's taught you how to pray, I hope that possibly this helps paint a little bit of a picture. And if not, maybe I can be direct of saying, just simply saying, please, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you. Perhaps you're on the flip side and you're like, oh, I hate God and everything related to God, and I don't think that there's God and all that anger. Well, then maybe we can also say a different prayer that's like, hey, can you show me if you're real or not? And if you're real, can I see a purple car? Or like, I like to joke and say something that could like never happen. Something like super miracle, like a hot pink car. And if a hot pink car shows up at 3 o'clock, it means this. I'm just being playful. However, I do encourage you to have like your own prayer and your own wish, and making it so specific, so that way when it comes on stage and it shows itself, like you are like, oh my God, and you're like a little emotional, because it's like you're loved so much, you got the exact thing. And perhaps some things have already been done, so perhaps there's just a little bit of time of saying, hey, part of me knows that you're here, and I just want to say thank you for all those other things, and I'm kind of concerned about these other things, and my friend's going through this, and I don't really understand why it's your will that in the end that all this happens in this way. However, I'm asking you be nice on them a little bit more, or like, I don't know what they did or what their family did or things, but please have mercy on all of us. We love you, and we know that you mean well, or just almost like making it like a personal dialogue. And there's also the vibes of think about forgetfulness, like people who have forgotten what they've done to you, and maybe not even having awareness, and having forgiveness for them. And perhaps too, like the forgetfulness of what we've done to others, and we want God, oh God, just forget that I did this, please forget that I did this to this person, please just forget, don't get back at me, that. And I really have faith that a lot of times like that's possible, because if we really, really, really bring it to the altar, right? When we bring it to you and we're like, oh my God, I actually really messed up like this, and I really, really don't want to ever do that to you again. I'm so sorry. Like, we really mean it, and like our whole character is absolutely changed. We never do that thing that we did, how we accidentally hurt that person, or we on purpose hurt that person, or all those things. And we have like that metanoia, like the complete translation that I'm an absolutely new and different person. I love you so much. There's nothing you can do about it. Thank you for those of you who have stayed and that have been fully present. Blessings, peace and blessings, and miracles, and moving of mountains, and teaching other people how to fish, okay, or how to do the thing that you know how to do, that you're so gifted and skilled at. Knowing our place, meaning when to speak, when to listen, when to take action, and having the courage to be able to do so when it's in the highest best interest of all. That we be ourselves and do the things that only we can do, which is why we are here. And a gratefulness for all the things that we turned away from, that helped make us into the greater people that we are today, that makes us love ourselves so much more. The amazingness that we changed, and that we learned better, and that we didn't know, and just the beautiful wisdom and growth that comes. So, Om Shanti Shanti.